Hello, my name is Lariza and I'm going to be talking about the effectiveness of continuation high school and in getting students to graduate. A continuation school is an alternative to comprehensive high school, usually for students at risk of not graduating due to credit deficiency and who are 16 and older. There is a debate on if they are effective on aiding students to graduate, or are they just a dumping ground for comprehensive high schools to keep their graduation rates up. Continuation schools are effective in helping students graduate. Many of the students with their low grades are dealing with their own personal issues and problems at home, or became teen parents. Continuation schools help because of the extra support that keeps the students on track and they know where they stand in their graduation status. It helps remove things that make students with anxiety not want to go to class, and it has easier access to counselors who can answer any questions and provide emotional support. And many of the continuation schools provide childcare during school hours or offer night classes. And as a teen parent, often has a lower chance to graduate. In my own experience, during the second half of my junior year, I went through a tough period and I got sent to a continuation school. And through the counselors and the staff there, I was able to graduate on time, and now I'm a college student. So I believe it's very effective. Continuation high schools give students a more calm learning environment. The statistically smaller classroom sizes allows teachers to have more one-on-one time with their students and doesn't leave them left behind. And the rotation of students helps aid in the drama that students go through in high school, because students are constantly coming in or getting out and going back to their comprehensive schools. And the flexibility of their class schedules aids in stress relief and helps teen parents be able to handle their schedules and working students. So this alternative schooling changes a student's perspective towards education. Jaylene Lopez was a student who attended a continuation school. She skipped class more often than she attended during her sophomore year and got sent to a continuation school. She felt her teachers and her peers cared about her and began attending more, and she thought about college for the first time, something she didn't think she would reach. These schools serve the most vulnerable students. They are effective and detrimental in struggling students' ability to graduate on time.
Well, the proposition is identified near the beginning of the presentation. The question concerns whether or not there's controversy on this particular point. I don't know why it is anybody is doubting that continuation schools are effective. Maybe there is some criticism of them by the general school population or by the more comprehensive schools. I'm not quite sure why this seems like it's a controversy. You do suggest, for instance, at some point that people might think it's just a warehousing of students to enable the schools to collect money for keeping the student under their jurisdiction. But that really doesn't get developed much, and I'm not sure that anybody is suggesting that continuation schools are a waste. But if they are, it would have been nice to know that so that we could see that there is a little bit more controversy on this. Even the criticism that you might have heard, for instance, could have been used to suggest that there is a controversy on this particular point. It seemed like there was going to be a preview because you're listing potential advantages that continuation schools have. You mentioned that they have extra help, that they are a place where people can go where they have less anxiety issues, and they have access to counselors. But you don't have any development of those particular points. There's no statistical information about the help they get, about whether or not students return to the classroom more frequently as a result of having been in a continuation school, what the nature of that extra help is. The anxiety issue is all asserted. I didn't hear any information on that to suggest that there is a difference between students in regular schools and the continuation schools. And earlier access to or easy access to things like childcare. Well, I guess that's a good thing. How much of that's needed, and does it allow students to complete school when they might have not completed school otherwise? That seems like the one thing that ought to be easiest to document. That continuation schools have made a difference, for instance, for teen mothers or fathers. That allows them to finish, and we can see that before access to continuation schools existed, kids were likely to drop out, but once the continuation schools were in place, they were more likely to graduate and be able to go on to college. There's got to be some data on this sort of thing, and we don't have anything, just kind of your assertion on that point. And I think that's a little bit problematic. When we get to the body of the speech, it's not as well organized as the preview was, and it really feels like it's a wandering around a little bit. You kind of described what the environment is like at the smaller classes, and you get to kind of interact with the students in a different way. There's a lot of flexibility. That's all asserted. I don't doubt that it's true, but there's not really any proof on that particular point. And then we're back to the same situation here, where we're trying to figure out whether or not there is a difference. You've got one example of a student who went to this other than your own, and that's the only proof that you have that there is an impact from these continuation schools. So it really feels underdeveloped when it comes to the evidentiary part of the argument. All right, thank you. Chad, we're going to have you next, please.